So let's start with something that kind of blows people's minds when they first hear it. Your gut. And I mean your actual digestive system, from your stomach all the way through your intestines, has about 500 million neurons running through it. That's its own nervous system. Scientists literally call it the enteric nervous system, but the nickname they've given it is way more interesting: the second brain. And this second brain? It's in constant communication with the brain in your skull. They're talking back and forth through something called the vagus nerve, this long, wandering nerve that runs from your brainstem all the way down into your abdomen. Think of it like a telephone line between two headquarters. Except here's the twist most people don't know. About 90% of the signals on that line are going from your gut up to your brain, not the other way around. So your gut isn't just receiving orders, it's giving them. Now, living inside that gut of yours is a community of about 38 trillion microorganisms. Bacteria, fungi, viruses, all sorts of tiny life forms. Collectively, we call this the gut microbiome. And these little guys aren't just sitting around breaking down your lunch. They are actively producing neurotransmitters, influencing your hormones, training your immune system, and yes, shaping your mental state in ways we're only just beginning to fully understand. Let's talk about serotonin for a second, because this is where it gets really personal. You've probably heard of serotonin described as the happiness chemical. And you've probably heard that antidepressants, specifically SSRIs, work by increasing serotonin levels in the brain. That's all true. But here's what almost nobody tells you. Roughly 90 to 95% of your body's serotonin is made in your gut. Not your brain, your gut. There are specialized cells lining your intestines called enterochromaffin cells, and they produce serotonin in response to, and this is important, what you eat and which bacteria are present in your microbiome. Certain good bacteria, like Lactobacillus and Bifidobacterium strains, actually help stimulate the production of serotonin in those gut cells. When those bacteria are thriving, your gut is making plenty of serotonin, which signals your brain that things are good. When your microbiome is out of balance, something researchers call dysbiosis, serotonin production can tank. And when serotonin tanks, well, you feel it. Low mood, irritability, that kind of flat, gray feeling where nothing seems exciting. But serotonin isn't the only neurotransmitter your gut is involved in. Your microbiome also influences GABA, which is your brain's main calming chemical. Low GABA is directly linked to anxiety and panic. Studies have shown that specific gut bacteria actually produce GABA, or help regulate how your brain uses it. There's also dopamine, your motivation and reward chemical. About 50% of your body's dopamine precursors are produced in the gut. So when people say, "I just can't get motivated," or "nothing makes me feel rewarded anymore," that gut connection might be a serious piece of the puzzle. This is where we get into some genuinely fascinating research. One of the most famous studies in this space used something called germ-free mice. Mice raised in a completely sterile environment, so they have no gut microbiome at all. When researchers exposed these mice to stressful situations, they had massively exaggerated stress responses compared to normal mice. Their cortisol, the stress hormone, spiked way higher. Their anxiety behaviors were off the charts. But here's the incredible part. When scientists transplanted gut bacteria from calm, normal mice into the germ-free mice, their stress responses normalized. The bacteria literally changed their behavior. And it works the other way too. When researchers transplanted gut bacteria from anxious or depressed humans into germ-free mice, those mice started showing anxious and depressed behaviors. Think about what that means for a second. The mental state of one creature was effectively transferred to another through gut bacteria. Now, human research is obviously more complex, but we're seeing real clinical evidence too. A 2019 study published in Nature Microbiology looked at the gut microbiomes of over 1,000 people and found that two specific types of bacteria, Coprococcus and Dialister, were consistently low in people diagnosed with depression. And this held up even after controlling for antidepressant use. Another landmark study from the APC Microbiome Institute in Cork, Ireland, found that giving people a specific probiotic blend for just 4 weeks significantly reduced their levels of the stress hormone cortisol and improved psychological well-being scores. This isn't fringe science anymore. Major medical institutions, Harvard, Johns Hopkins, the NIH, are all taking the gut-brain axis seriously. The field even has a name now: psychobiotics. That's the study of how gut bacteria influence psychological health. Have you ever had a craving so strong it felt like it wasn't even coming from you? Like something else was demanding the sugar, the junk food, the alcohol? Well, something else kind of was. Here's how this works. Different species of gut bacteria thrive on different types of food. Bacteria that love sugar and processed carbohydrates, things like Candida overgrowth and certain Firmicutes strains, can actually manipulate your food preferences to feed themselves. They do this by 1. Producing chemicals that activate your vagus nerve to signal reward pathways in your brain when you eat what they want. 2. Creating low-level inflammation that affects your mood, which temporarily gets relieved when you eat comfort foods, creating a cycle. 3. Literally altering your taste receptors to make healthy foods taste less appealing and sugary or fatty foods taste more intense. There's actual research showing that the ratio of two major bacterial groups in your gut, Firmicutes and Bacteroidetes, is directly linked to cravings and even obesity. People with more Firmicutes tend to extract more calories from food and crave more energy-dense options. And this creates this vicious loop. You eat processed food, it feeds the bacteria that want more processed food. Those bacteria grow in number, they demand more, your cravings intensify, and around it goes. The good news? That loop can be broken, and it doesn't take as long as you might think. All right, this is the part you've been waiting for. Because understanding all of this is great, but what do you do with it? Let's talk about practical, evidence-backed ways to shift your microbiome toward one that supports better mood, lower anxiety, fewer cravings, and sharper mental clarity. Number 1. Feed the good guys with fiber. This is the single most impactful dietary change you can make. Beneficial bacteria, the kind linked to better mental health, they thrive on fermentable fiber, also called prebiotics. This means foods like garlic, onions, leeks, asparagus, bananas, oats, and legumes. These aren't just healthy foods, they're literally food for the bacteria that produce your feel-good neurotransmitters. Number 2. Add fermented foods. A groundbreaking Stanford study in 2021 found that a diet high in fermented foods, things like kimchi, sauerkraut, kefir, plain yogurt, and kombucha, actually increased microbiome diversity and decreased inflammatory markers. More diversity in your gut is consistently linked to better mental health outcomes. Start small if you're not used to them. A few tablespoons of sauerkraut with dinner is a genuinely easy way to begin. Number 3. Cut the ultra-processed stuff, even for just 2 weeks. Research shows that the microbiome can shift significantly in as little as 2 to 4 weeks of dietary change. When you remove processed foods, the bacteria that depend on them start to decline. The cravings literally get quieter because you're starving the bacteria that were generating them. Week 1 might be brutal. Week 2 usually gets easier. By week 3, a lot of people report that their cravings have changed and their mood has stabilized. Number 4. Consider targeted probiotics. Strains like Lactobacillus rhamnosus, Lactobacillus helveticus, and Bifidobacterium longum have the most research behind them for mood and anxiety. These aren't just random probiotic pills from the grocery store shelf. Strain specificity matters. Talk to your doctor, but it's worth knowing which strains have actual clinical backing. Number 5. Manage your stress for your gut's sake. This one's a two-way street. Chronic stress damages the gut lining, kills off beneficial bacteria, and triggers inflammation. And a damaged microbiome makes you more stressed. So practices like meditation, breathwork, regular exercise, and even just getting enough sleep are directly protecting your gut health, and by extension, your mental health. Here's what I want you to walk away with. We've spent decades treating mental health almost entirely from the neck up. Medications targeting brain chemistry, therapies targeting thought patterns. And those things matter. They genuinely help a lot of people. But we've been ignoring this enormous biological factor living inside us that is directly shaping our brain chemistry every single day. The gut microbiome isn't some alternative medicine concept anymore. It's one of the most actively researched areas in all of medicine. The gut-brain axis is real. The serotonin connection is real. The cravings manipulation is real. And the ability to shift your mental health by changing what you eat? That's increasingly real too. This doesn't mean food cures depression or that anyone dealing with serious mental illness should swap their treatment plan for a bowl of yogurt. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I am saying is that the gut is a powerful lever that most people aren't pulling. And the beautiful thing is, unlike a lot of health interventions, it's mostly within your control. Starting with your next meal. Your bacteria are doing things with your brain 24 hours a day, whether you pay attention to them or not. You might as well give the good ones a reason to stick around. If this changed how you think about your mood, your cravings, or your mental health, even a little, I'd love to hear it in the comments. Seriously, drop a comment and tell me, did anything here click for you? Was there something that explained something you've been experiencing? And if you want to keep going down this rabbit hole with me, because honestly, we barely scratched the surface today, hit subscribe. We go deep on the science of how your body actually works, what the research really says, and how to use that information in a way that's practical and not overwhelming. There's a lot more to explore. I'll see you in the next one.